Today we just like to speak about what happened on the cryptocurrency. A lot changed in 2 weeks that we were. I think it's 2 weeks, right? That we were off. 3 weeks that we were off. A lot happened in Bitcoin. So for me, I sold my Bitcoin, all of it, because when I bought Bitcoin, it was at the high of 55 or 50 something. I placed the order on Robinhood for a certain amount and it bought it at 55, whatever. So now I sold it based on what I was seeing in the market and based on how people were reacting. So I felt that I needed to sell because I was at the top and I might have lost. So I sold knowing that I was going to come back later on the lower. So that's something that happened for me. I know
Well, what
Josh.
was like? I didn't ask you because I wanted it to be fresh, but like, what were some of the reasons why you sell aside from the price? Like, why did you sell it?
Oh, because of the whole inflation thing. Because me, I know it's not in. I've been listening to the Fed, and it's not inflation, but prices are getting high. And my reason, and I'm listening to other people, is like Dogecoin. It's because of Elon Musk that made me started to question what's happening with Bitcoin, and I did not like that he was in charge, like he was the godfather of coin. Like I didn't want. It was not. That wasn't supposed to be the reason for Bitcoin. It was supposed to be the people, not one dude making it go up and down. So I was upset at that. I didn't like that, as well as the inflation that they were talking about for coming for summer. Like everything is going to be expensive. So in my head, I was like, okay, these two things are coming up. People need money for summer. Everybody's going to be spending, and Elon wasn't making it any better by um, saying Bitcoin is good. Then he's not saying it's not good. So it's like it's not something I wanted to be at the high. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sell. I'll wait till everyone dies down over the couple weeks or a month, depending, and then I'll buy back in on a low versus my 55 because I personally knew that I was going to lose money on that on the long term. So I was like, you know what? I'm out. I don't like this influence. And that's one crazy thing that happened in Bitcoin that over the last 3 weeks for me. So I pulled out. And
I,
Josh did
I did the opposite.
he
Like,
did the opposite.
when he told me, I was a little disappointed. But to be honest, I think it worked out perfect for him because initially he purchased on Robinhood, and I never recommended that. I
Mhm.
I always wanted him to actually own the coins itself rather than just have price action. And on Robinhood, you cannot take your assets off of the platform, even if
Mhm.
it's Doge. You can't do anything with it. You can't put it in a cold storage in the case that that platform gets shut down or
Mhm.
for whatever reasons Robinhood can no longer trade cryptocurrencies or digital assets. So I always felt like it would have been better for him to start off the right way, like I did. Um, but at the end of the day, it's all about making money. So I didn't really knock on that too much. Um, but in terms of my ideas, my principles when it comes to the volatility in any technology, not just digital assets, but I mean, given how freaking new this
Bitcoin.
space is,
Yeah.
you would expect it to be way more volatile than anything else. People think certain technology stocks are volatile. Like this is 10 years old. Amazon's been out for nearly 30 years.
Hmm.
So um, yeah, it's not a real good comparison.
Yeah.
And this thing is not, and this is the other thing too. It's not trying to sell you a book
Hmm.
like Amazon was trying to do, or connect users with products from vendors around the world, or it's not
Hmm.
trying to in- increase your social network by connecting you with friends all around the world. This is a monetary network. It's it it's liquidity is built into it. It has to be liquid. This is a huge stress test.
Hmm.
Um, and I
Agreed.
and I think it's going through its motions successfully.
Hmm.
Tons of people lost money because again, this and in crypto they call them weak hands, but in reality they're purchasing it for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
If you buy something that you don't understand and you don't know what its potential is, uh, then you're essentially just gambling.
Mhm.
Even more so than people who think that they understand. And we might be some of those people who think that we understand and it's way bigger than it is. And there's all these what if scenarios, like what if the government bans it
Mhm.
or bans the on ramps to it and makes it really difficult
Mhm.
for people to transact. And well, and that's another thing too. This huge myth that people don't transact in it. People transact in it. The blockchain is filled with transactions on a daily basis. Sometimes 15 billion transactions per day, I think, on Bitcoin, 45 billion on Ethereum. So there are transactions happening. Maybe not the quality that people want. Like there, no one's buying a cup of coffee with it, but transactions are being made on the chains, and they are public, and it's visible. And we during that 3 week period, we saw, just like in the crash in 2017, huge amounts of
Bitcoin
big,
sell off.
just come back onto platforms that they weren't
Mhm.
on, and people just use the opportunity to sell high,
Mhm.
and most likely bought the dip, which is capitulation. There people are basically buying back in at lower levels.
Yeah.
It's usually not a good idea to do that. It's probably like that's the reason why I told Matt that I was gonna buy after he sold. I had no idea how deep correction was gonna be, but it's very normal for Bitcoin to correct 30 to 50%. And in the case of like really bad crashes, it could go as far as 90%.
Mhm.
Um, Matt mentioned inflation. That's a huge risk. Uh, and these arguments about whether or not it's a currency or it's an asset, and it's all of the above.
Mhm.
It could do both. But whether it's being identified in a specific way by the Fed or by the government,
Mhm.
that's another situation. We recently got word that there might be regulations that enforce that there should be disclosures for any transfer over $10,000. That's
Yeah.
very currency-like.
Mhm. That's what everyone said. Like that's why would the IRS send out a statement saying, "Hey, anything over." That sounds like remember when people used to send money back home,
Mhm.
and then they stopped it because drug dealers were sending more than 10,000
Right.
back home, so they capped it at 10,000. So it feels as though this is similar to it, transaction overseas, like sending money overseas
Right. Yeah.
or
I
within
mean,
the system itself. So they're
it's
gonna tax you 10,000. I mean, no, they're gonna tax you over 10,000 every time you move more than 10K.
mhm.
You have to pay the IRS tax, or that's what they're thinking about because it's not official yet, right?
Right. I don't think it's been official yet,
They're
but
just
that
pushing.
if they put that out there, they're most likely gonna do it,
Hmm.
and that caused the crash to dip even lower.
Hmm.
And I even told you when you originally sold, I was telling you just look at the charts,
Hmm.
and the charts would show you that it's gonna bottom at 30.
Hmm.
I told you if it broke through support at 40, 42,
Hmm.
it had nothing supporting it until
Until
30,000,
30,
and it did exactly that. It bounced on 30,000,
and then
which is
popped up.
the right below the 200-day moving average, and popped right back up.
So it seems to me personally, 30,000 is his new baseline moving forward.
It
As
depends.
of this filming, actually, as of this filming, it seems as though 30,000 is the baseline because it did went to 30. I was sleeping. I didn't care. Josh
Me
was up.
too. No, I
Oh, you
slept.
you slept?
Yeah, yeah.
But he noticed
I went
because
to
I
bed
asked
at
him. I was like, "Oh, I'm
35.
waiting until it goes to 30." He's like, "It already did," and he went back up. Like, damn, I guess I missed
That's
that
the
one.
first thing I checked.
Yeah, so I missed that one. Whatever. Uh, but I am happy with what I did. You know, everyone's different. Like Josh said, people did lose money. I know you guys are hearing an airplane, so we're outside because we're trying to change things up. Yeah, that's an airplane. But I pulled out because like Josh said, it's making money. It's about making money, and there's different things about Bitcoin. For me, like Josh said, it's being stress test. This is how I see this as being stress test. So China banned cryptocurrency. China banned the on-ramps to cryptocurrency. So even if you want to use a VPN, remember in the first video we talked, first like 2 videos we talked about, hey, we could do VPN. It's illegal to use VPN in China. You get 5 years in jail for using a VPN in China. That would have explained why it corrected so much from the Chinese side. Not to mention, China is the most, they have the most miners, they have the most equipment to mine.
Most of the hashing power comes from there.
From China. So if the government of China decided, hey, this currency or asset,
they didn't ban the mining of it.
they just banned the transactions of it, which makes no
So
sense.
you can't trade it if you're not considered a millionaire or something like that.
Right?
They have a
So it's basically only
income.
rich people.
yeah, they have an income.
It's ridiculous what they
bracket.
did, but at the same time, people are like, this is what we want, because this is showing that governments are afraid. What do you think? Are they afraid? Because like this does this show that they're afraid, or they're showing their dominance?
When I saw that article, I just saw more of the same.
Mm-hmm.
Since 2014, China's been banning Bitcoin. It's the same ban. They've just been adding on layers of regulation on top of it. So every time we have like this enormous bull run and Bitcoin gets overheated, the market gets overheated, Bloomberg and all these media outlets, they report some big China ban. And you guys could go back into previous years.
And you'll see it.
Yeah, every time there was a huge run up in the prices,
there's
always a correlating articles or group of articles that and China's always involved in it, of banning it. And this is probably in a huge way price manipulation.
It is price manipulation. You talk about Elon Musk, Jesus.
But in the long run, it's whatever it creates cheaper prices. And it's the same thing with other things too. If just think about a stock, and then someone comes out with some data, right? That's like relatively relatable to the company, but or the space in which the company is in. And then you're looking at a particular stock, and the stock, based on your own research, wouldn't be affected by that change, that systemic change in that business space. Would you sell? Would you just be like, oh my god,
no.
This I don't know, a hurricane somewhere, and then you're in the other side of the world, your business is in another side of the world, and you're like, oh, I'm going to be affected by this too, just because they were affected and our businesses are similar.
No, it's not. That's not how it worked. Personally,
Bitcoin didn't shut down.
No.
China banned it. It didn't shut down. Transactions actually went up because more people started trading it. And you got to understand every market has buyers and sellers. And when you're selling for a loss, someone's buying. You just got to know, are you doing the right thing in the long run? Or because over time, to me, personally, the goal is to have as much Satoshis or Bitcoins as possible.
And the
right?
more
Because
more the better.
Yeah, it's a savings mechanism. It's built in. It has built-in deflation in the asset itself. So over time it just becomes more valuable.
So that reminded me of another question. Remember when in the beginning when they said it was a hedge against inflation? I think that fell apart after inflation kind of came.
Well, we don't know as yet. We don't know as yet because this is just the earlier portion of it. We don't have inflation as yet.
That's what I'm saying. It didn't reach yet, and it says, how could you say it's a hedge?
We had really low inflation last year, and we got a bump of 4% year over year. I mean,
which was below what the Fed wanted it.
We printed 25% of the total money supply. So
1% of GDP.
Yeah, so
it's ridiculous. That's
of course we got some inflation.
Yeah, for those of you who might not know, that's a lot of money. 1% of America's GDP is what, 1 trillion plus, 1.2 trillion. That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
no country could make that in 10 years. So that's a lot of money that was printed. So that's something that I was looking into as well. A lot a lot happened in 3 weeks. 3 weeks? I thought it was 2 weeks. 3 weeks.
It was a long 3 weeks.
This
man.
is
But I'm glad because I had a lot of work to do.
right. So he had schoolwork, I had regular. Listen, we work. This is just a part-time thing, but we work, but we want it to be something good to help a lot of people and to help ourselves too. This is a learning community that we're trying to build. It's not about trying to be dominant, I guess, or being the most educated and know more. It's about trying to help. Oh, you don't know? Hey, we're gonna help you. If we don't know, somebody knows, and then that's how you build a community.
Yeah, we're not telling. I'm
We're not forcing anyone.
I'm not telling.
Yeah.
So I know who the guy was, the football player that converted his entire NFL income.
So who?
Sean Culkin.
Sean who?
Sean Culkin.
Sean Culkin.
He's an NFL superstar.
So
I'm not telling you
Did
guys
he
to
change
do
it because of that? What
No,
happened?
he just bought the dip.
Oh, he bought the dip.
He was even more. This reinvigorated him because this is his first price
Investment.
drop.
Oh,
Yeah.
since he's joined. Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. So this is the first for a lot of us actually. This is my first price. This is not his first price drop. He was in it when it was the $20,000 to $5,000, right?
Yeah.
From 20,000 to 5,000. Like that was depressing for me to look at. And I'm like, really? This is what you do?
Yeah, it had a 95% drop.
So he's already, you know how they say you have stomach, skin in the game, risk. Like he has more. So I'm not about that. The minute I see something that's gonna change, that's gonna affect me, and I know I'm on the side to lose a lot, I sell right away. So I'm different on how I approach Bitcoin. However, I still support it. There is altcoins like the Ethereum and all of them. Ethereum. Okay, let's talk about the elephant here. Bitcoin and its environmental protection, because we're all millennials, Gen Z. We're about the planet, save the planet. Yes, Bitcoin does consume a lot of electricity. However, there are cryptocurrency transitioning to proof of stake, right? And which will then, according to the founder, what's his name? Vitalik, it will reduce the amount of electricity by 90%. 99%. So all of that complaining is short term about electricity.
Bitcoin can never do that because Bitcoin's protocol, its entire security base is built on proof of work. From the time you put that on proof of stake, it loses one of its number one qualities. So it's always a trade-off. Like what would Ethereum traded off security? They've been hacked several times. They're highly centralized. And in my opinion, I can't really tell the difference between them and AWS.
Who, Ethereum and AWS?
Yeah, and Microsoft Azure.
I feel as though the community, not the community, governments and other people who are already in it, just forcing, molding them in a way to become just like them.
Yeah.
So they can't do what they're supposed to do, which was be decentralized. The purpose of cryptocurrency was to be decentralized, and by us, we give it value. Not one person, not an institution,
right?
Especially not a government.
A bottom-up system.
It's a bottom-up system.
It's not about anarchy. It's just about giving equity to the people first. When it comes to money, everyone that takes part in the economy has to work for that same dollar. And some things are necessary, like I think. In all honesty, the stimuluses in the beginning, for the most part, were very important. That was vital. I mean, this is a pandemic. No one caused this in particular. But there's always unintended consequences. And especially in a society like ours, advanced societies, we should have something that's uncorrelated to all of those unintended consequences of monetary policy and stuff like that. And the fact that it was created in a bottom-up system where it was started with, as Hillary Clinton calls it, us the deplorables.
But not us, she's referring to who? Yeah, who should refer to us, them?
It wasn't very clear.
We're deplorables. Well, I'm not going to be a deplorable. First of all, I don't want to be a lost. The reason why I support the Bitcoin thing is because they're calling us the lost generation, millennials, I'm speaking of. I would save this for another video, but we're moving from a society where you could work a stable job, and you could do well in this country, that margin of people who can do that is shrinking, and you need more than one income to survive on a average American lifestyle. We're not talking anything big. And it seems as though this pandemic has pushed us back from achieving that goal, millennials and Gen Z, I'm speaking of directly. And so I suggest that we should all be doing something extra, which is investing if you want to do a weekend job. It's sad that you have to do that, in order to be prosperous in this place, but it is what it is. That's the future. That's how it is.
It's also better than anywhere else.
And it's better than anywhere else. That's true. So the future, the past that you're thinking of America has changed. So you have to adapt to the new ways of it, which will be more digital. I assume more digital currency because of the Bitcoin volatility. And Josh shared an article today with Goldman Sachs saying it's
it's an asset class that's
an asset class that's gonna stay.
It's here to stay.
So I mean, personally, this is okay. Something like that. This is what I wanted to say.
That's more. I feel like that's more manipulation.
I just was gonna say. I was like, why are they commenting on this? This is manipulation. Why are you? You're gonna have one guy
bought the dip
and then one
like, let's pump it and then dump it.
Yeah. So I personally believe that these big guys now are gonna watch in the news. They're gonna come out and say, just like what happened, Bitcoin is beautiful. We all then believe them like sheep and then buy, and then they're gonna come out again. Bitcoin is terrible. They're gonna find another reason. Then it crashes. You don't know if they bought or they sold privately, publicly, however.
Well, we'll know. We won't know until they file their
court.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, they're winning on the up and the down, because remember they can bet against, right? They can short. They can short, which means they make money on the up and the down.
And they don't even have to purchase the actual, like how I was telling you that I wanted Matt. They could just do it through derivatives, and that float pushes the market around
up and down.
Yeah, because people look at how those floats change in the derivative markets, and when we see huge shifts from the long position to short position, that we start selling and buying based on that. So they move the market wherever they want.
Yeah, and
because they have more money.
They have more money.
We follow money.
And that's
well,
not
technically.
Exactly.
The traders follow money.
And that's exactly what Satoshi didn't want. He didn't want institutions manipulating Bitcoin. But we have to go through it.
It's a thin line. I think it's a thin line between what's considered manipulation and what's considered a truly free market.
That's true.
And I think that if it's truly a free market system that's traded 24/7, 365 days a year, you'll get movements like this.
You get the big swings, the big up and down.
And the fact that $1 trillion of liquidity was able to be extracted, that's amazing for something that's been around for 10 years. That's a wild amount of monetary energy in there. And if it could consistently do that, then I think there's value in that on itself.
I agree. And with that, listen, guys, just be careful with cryptocurrencies. Right now, we're on how would you put it? I would say not a bull run, a wild chase or a wild swing up and down.
There's still a huge possibility of another 50% correction from 30,000.
Jesus Christ.
It's not impossible to say that it could go down to 15,000. It just depends on how
just be careful with Bitcoin.
How bad the news for the rest of the year
is. That's why for me personally, I told Josh, I'm not gonna do how I was every day. I'm just gonna keep an eye on the crypto and see the news, see what's happening. If there is manipulation on that I feel, they're doing this on purpose, or they're stalling until they get time to jump in. So there's that scenario.
That's capitulation. That's for the most part. That's what would happen. They'd buy a little bit, so that they don't push the price up
too much. But they're in it,
right,
little by little. Hey, that's smart, man. That's pretty smart.
But that's what I was trying to. That's what I was trying to tell you to do. I was like, okay, because that's what I did, because I wanted to show you that I would do it. because when you sold the 5,000, I was like, you see, this is what happens when you jump with both feet in and you don't understand what it is. That's why I told him from the day that he sold until June, I'll buy
The same
$5,000
amount.
worth.
Yeah.
And I just split it up, and every dip I bought where I felt like we could get a bounce. So I bought at 47 initially, thinking that we were going to get a bounce back because there was so much demand at that point, but there was way more selling power. And then I bought again at 40, and then I bought again at 37, and then at 35. And now it's back up. My average wasn't bad.
See, that's and I'm glad that everyone's being able to see the two different sides. Not because we're talking the same talk means we're doing the same do. I pulled out because I am not that risk taker like that with my money. I'm more conservative or cheap. This guy is something that I don't want to be. That's too risky for me. I'll just look and admire.
But I don't have anything else to do with the $5,000.
See,
so, that's the other thing too.
So see,
what am I going to do? Just leave it in the bank?
Good. I'm glad that he's saying these things because these are the kind of points that you have to ask yourself too. What do I want? Don't be what Matt wants, what Josh wants. What do I, as whoever's listening to this, want? And with that, I just want to say thank you for listening to our podcast. Tune into our next episode and hold tight on this what do you call it? This roller coaster that we are experiencing. We will be putting out more videos soon. So thank you guys. Bye.